it's got faster. I'm like, okay, does the one play Netflix? Yeah. Does the one ring when somebody calls me? Yeah. Can I surf the web on it? Yeah. What operating system is it running? Marshmallow Nougat. Why the do I want to spend $700 on a phone when that one's $150 then? Well, because this one's got a little bit more RAM, and I'm like, the cheap one's got an SD card slot too, though, right? Yeah.
Anymore, if you're
Why
talking...
do I want to pay $700 for a phone?
Yeah.
If you're talking to somebody that knows what they're talking about, they will talk operating system, and they'll be like, this one has Snapdragon, this, that, or the other. And it's like, oh, okay. So processing speed. That's all you're paying for. But why are you going to pay hundreds more for processing speed?
Mm-hmm. Hundreds. Like $500 more.
For like a...
It's $500
more.
more.
4% increase.
Yeah. Yeah, like I got it. Like this is dramatically faster. But this one still does everything that I want it to do, and it's running the current operating system.
Yeah. When I bought this machine that we're currently recording on,
What is going on?
it's like if I wanted any more gigs of RAM, I was looking at hundreds of dollars, like $400
Yeah,
more.
can you like put more
I'm
in
like,
that one?
yeah, I could just
currently
crack it.
recording?
That's what we typically do.
Yeah, you just hit record and then we'll edit it later or not.
We'll get around to the part where we say, welcome to Two Lazy Guys.
Right about here.
And
I hope I didn't drop any F-bombs.
no F-bombs.
I don't think you do.
Okay.
I can still do the which, by now, if people have been tuning in, they're used to hearing.
Okay.
So no worries. Let me finish my chocolate milk. It helps make my voice silky smooth.
So what you're saying is yours is all artificial.
Sexy chocolate.
Yep, saturated.
Oh, damn, you watched episode 10 back in the hotel, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did
You
I.
there? Look at that. Doodle scribble sketch right there.
There we go.
Did it blow your mind? It's been a while.
Actually, a
since
lot
we
of it,
talked.
I actually predicted a lot of it. The only thing that blew my mind was Wyatt. Ha! That was the one that just like... That one I was not expecting.
All right, well, maybe we should just get into it. Welcome back to the show.
Hey!
You
This
got
is
me.
Jared.
Yeah, you got Dave.
And Sam,
Sam's here. Sam's here.
the sober-ish Viking.
And that's the end of my drink. All right. So cool. Yeah, you might end up dying.
He might. He might just pass out.
Yeah, if I die, just read off my notes.
Can we read
All
your
right,
notes?
so
Sweep my
how
body
many-
under the... No, actually, you...
Probably not.
No, you're...
How many notes
You're
did
up a
everybody end up with? I've got 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, three and a quarter.
I have 4 full pages of hotel paper.
I got 1.5.
Holy smokes.
Well, I mean,
Nice.
but this is also full notebook paper. You're doing,
Yeah.
other notebook. It's smaller.
Girl notebook.
And then we got
I got...
hotel
Yep.
slips over here.
Yeah.
You know what I don't have? I don't have a pen to mark
With-
off stuff.
with
that's
sand-
in
I don't
this.
either. I was just looking. I was like, it must have fallen out when I threw it on my seat to drive over here.
Let me go look.
You're definitely not stocked up like the hotel is.
No.
Man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
well,
Where's the whiskey and the water? We need water. If you got water, that would be great. Or diet soda.
Yep. The only thing I got to fill in the gap is I did drywall today.
You did drywall today.
Yeah, I did a little bit of drywall in the house. Woo!
Not so lazy today, huh?
No. Well, I only did a little.
Did a little.
Yeah. Admittedly, I did do a bunch of ridiculous stuff this morning that was related to comic books. And I did do some dishes. And I did do a little bit of drywall, which I really needed to do. And then I did play a little bit of Destiny right before I came over here.
Yes.
But that was only because I wasn't sure what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't know if we're going to do this, if we're not going to do this. If we're not going to do this, it's fine. Then freaking let me play
Sure.
Destiny.
All right, cool.
I don't know what he said. No idea.
Might have asked you if you wanted to, like a broomstick to sit on. You want a
Broomstick
to
to
sit
sit
on?
on. Yeah. Yes. Always a broomstick to sit on. Make sure the end is pointy. No, he keeps trying to get me to buy this PS4 thing.
Oh, okay. We could just start without him.
We could.
Mm-hmm.
He might get a little salty
Grand
about that,
finale.
saying we're in.
All right, so yeah, whenever it kicks off for me, Oh, just trying to get going without you.
No, that's fine, dude.
Thank you, brother. Ah,
No worries.
I got one of these too.
I was gonna give you a Kansas
A
City
cup?
one, but I changed
A
my
cup?
mind.
Yeah, well,
cup.
it's a Force Awakens cup from the premiere.
Oh,
You know, we went and saw it opening night.
I have many.
I saw it opening day.
Cups.
Pulled the kids out of school. Their teachers don't listen to this podcast, so we're safe. They were both sick that day.
Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so where were we? Sorry.
We're talking about drywall.
Oh yeah, we were talking about drywall and buying PS4s and a bunch of other junk. So let's go.
I'm like, wait a minute, where was drywall in this episode? I remember a couple doors slamming on people and getting thrown through glass.
By the way, the
Oh,
corridor
yeah.
scene that I said there was a flash of was in this episode.
Okay.
Yeah, so at what point did you see that?
One of her weird little moments where she was going time hoppy and flashing back to different things.
See, I did not recall that. That's
And it was
crazy.
just like a flash,
All right.
and it was just like, well, there it is.
So whose notes? If I go down my notes, I mean, I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to them. Because this episode, of course, did a lot for us for setting up season 2, right?
Yeah.
It has us curious as to open-ended questions and such. Who was Dolores to Arnold is the first thing I wrote down.
Who was Dolores to Arnold? You
that-
mean like?
It just
Do you
made
think
me
she was
question.
modeled after somebody that Arnold knew?
Had to have been somebody of some particular significance to Arnold.
I kind of thought that she was just his first creation.
But why Dolores? Why the name? Why that face? I mean, he took a lot of time to design her. You saw all the drawings and stuff.
Yeah, but it took a lot of time to design everybody. But we saw her get her face actually put on her body before the rest of her body was put together, and he woke her up and talked to her.
Right,
I think
right.
she was the original host, and I think they actually said that
Yeah.
in one of the very, very first episodes, where saying that she is the oldest one in the park.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think I heard that as well.
I think it was just his original baby.
What was your take on
And
that, if any?
they did kind of say that she kind of took the place of his dead son.
We had a dead son in real life.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that
That
would
was
just be
established,
the
too.
deal.
And
He was.
Well, see, now we're talking about Robo Arnold versus real Arnold. I'm only saying real Arnold.
Well, real Arnold
Right,
had a
real
dead
Arnold.
son.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
He
Real
had a
Arnold.
real,
But one of the things that Ford says is that
Robo Arnold.
is that Arnold put everything into her and into the creating these characters in the park to fill that hole that was left by his son.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was where
That's
she
all
was the
that is
first,
to me,
just
at
kind
least
of
at this
a
point.
representation of his son, his new child.
His meat space son who died of space rabies, I guess, maybe.
True.
They still haven't established where they're at.
I know. Space
And
bus.
There was a comment where like somebody had said that the world outside was just poison. And I'm wondering if like this is actually just like a national park that everything in the world has died except for the plants and the humans.
Really? I thought there was one of the other dudes said everything outside was a life of luxury or leisure or something like that. Nobody really wanted for much, so they came to the park to try and have
Get away from the
experiences,
boredom.
basically.
Yes.
Like, sit around, I don't have to work, I don't have to... food comes rolling in, and, maybe, sort of Matrix-y, like an anti-Matrix. Like,
But at the expense of
good
that,
robots.
maybe there is no nature out there anymore.
Which would lead me to believe that when people get on a horse or something, they'd be more in awe and marvel by the animals in there, and they don't seem
I
to
might
be.
have said something
That's
about
true.
a horse I thought of.
But I mean,
But I don't remember.
but you know what came back in this episode?
The flies?
The flies. Yes. You know my obsession with the flies. And the moment it landed on our face, I was like, oh, the flies are back.
It did?
Yeah, there was, what was it? Was it,
I don't think that's anywhere in my notes.
the snake girl? Who was it? Somebody. Yeah, it
Armistice.
was. It was her right before she woke up. The fly landed on her face.
Really? Oh, snap. That's when she was being worked on? Or?
Yeah, well, after they rebuilt her skin and body and everything, because they burned them all up.
Okay, see, I pointed that out to somebody. Yeah, because that's what happened with Maeve. Mm-hmm. You were actually watching as homeboy was putting her back together, and he's like, "Oh, C6," or talking about the
Yeah, they
vertebrae
took
that would blow up. He's like, "I'll forget it."
Took the explosive vertebrae out.
Yeah. Okay. So my next note. Oh, what'd you have?
Oh, nothing, man. I don't know. Just
I thought
for
I
me,
talked
it's
over
just
you.
at the beginning. No,
Yeah.
I mean my journey just starts at the beginning. I can hop around. I don't care.
I said I should shave off my beard with a knife.
The knife.
yeah.
By the
That
way,
just was really manly.
are we ready to talk William yet?
William,
I don't care.
we bounce
Talk William.
around.
What
I
about
don't care,
William?
man.
Well, I've been wondering because I noticed several episodes back that William and the Man in Black had the same knife, and I was like, why do they have the same knife? It must just be from the thing. And then we get to your time hop theory.
Oh, really? No,
You know,
kidding.
you've been talking about the time hop, and the time hop is that all the William
is
stuff
William.
happened at the beginning of the park.
Yes. Yeah. Well. Yeah,
most
we
of the
figured out
William is.
timing on that. It's not like beginning of park, but when it becomes Westworld.
Yeah.
Because these guys have been repurposed from other stories and such. Which, yeah, I mean, because we get to see them. The town's named. Did we forget the name of the town again?
We did. I keep thinking Pariah, but Pariah's the other place.
That's
You're talking. No, it's
Sweetwater's the opening town.
Yeah.
I wrote it down, and no, I did. It's just a matter of flipping over to the right side of the page. Escalante. There's Escalante.
Is that? Yeah, okay, so Escalante is where you had everybody dancing and trying to figure out the programming and stuff.
Yeah. And also, it also explains why there was that Clifton moment that we got in a discussion about in a previous episode. Clifton Collins Jr., the character whose name I can't remember right now.
Okay. What?
The
The
guy
actor?
at Pariah. Who Man in Black was dragging around with a noose around his neck the whole
Lawrence?
time? Lawrence. Remember we were like, well, wait
That's
a minute,
my
they
next
just
note.
killed him.
Yeah.
And then, like, it looked like the same day he shows up again. We're like, no, because we got in an argument. And I'm like, no, that can't be right. Because it wasn't. Because it was a
the
time hop.
jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, see, that's my next note. Lawrence is like a bad penny.
Yeah.
Dude, he's everywhere. He's everywhere. Oh, man, why did I write this? Teddy wakes up fast, almost feel bad for Bumpy? Who is Bumpy?
I don't know. I got
Who is Bump? Was that the hooker?
Teddy wakes up on a train. Teddy wakes up on the train, coming in just like he always does at the beginning of his loops.
Oh, Bumpy! Bumpy's the guy that you always bump into, and it's like, are you
Yeah.
going to draw or not?
Yeah. And he finally shoots his ass.
That's right. Okay. Teddy wakes up fast is referring to the fact that he's waking up.
Yes.
His awakening is taking place. See, it's been so long since I wrote these notes. I'm like, what does this even
Yeah,
refer
no.
to?
That's why I watched it last night.
Yeah,
just to
okay.
be
So
sure.
almost feel bad for Bumpy, but I don't.
Yep.
No, he's always been a jerk.
He deserved it.
He did.
He's real. He is. I don't know if he's ever going to get even to the point where he's aware of the maze. He's so simplistic. Like, all he does is they just have him, like, he walks around the town in a loop.
Oh,
Just
Bumpy?
literally, like, wearing a rut in the ground.
Yeah, see, this is
And
why I
walking
call
in front
him
of the
Bumpy.
train.
Yeah.
Banging
He's
into
like-
people.
I'm going to bump into everybody.
Yeah, because he bumped into that obnoxious rich guy who went on the posse hunt
Right,
in that earlier episode.
Yeah, but he has a flashback, though, where he sees... At that point, though, he sees the bodies in the town,
And
and
the wolf.
Dolores is there, and the wolf runs through.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Well, we saw that before. Like in the first episode, he turns around and like sees Dolores and the wolf and all the dead bodies, and it's just a flash where you see Dolores and the dead bodies and the wolf, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And suddenly, and then
Are they
it
trying to
comes
say
out.
something about Dolores? Like, you know,
Yeah.
she's
I
a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
that.
there you go.
Oh, the significance of the wolf. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it really hasn't been
Because
explained. But
because otherwise there's nothing to tie it to.
yeah,
I
that
can
would be
think
the
of.
only thing I can think of.
See, this is what I was trying to figure out. Why did I write break the loop before it starts? What loop? Whose loop? Dang it.
The Fruit Loop. I don't
know
know.
whose loop I was referring to. Break the loop before it starts.
All of their loops.
Maybe I'm referring to Teddy again because his loop was
that's-
starting where he got off the train.
Yeah, he's breaking it.
And
Yeah,
if
I
it
mean,
came right after
before-
Teddy, if it came right after your
Yeah.
Teddy comment, then that's exactly what you're talking about. Is breaking that loop and turning around and shooting Bumpy.
And see, a lot of people have done that. Maeve does that like the moment she wakes up.
Yeah.
All the music and stuff is sounding terrible, and everything around her is just like nasty.
Yeah.
So she breaks the loop before it starts.
Always, every time.
Oh, here's one. This is directly tied to your comments, Dave. Not in the red.
Mm-hmm.
Business is booming. Somebody says that. I think it must have been the chick.
Well, the board
Little
lady?
Miss Corporate, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Charlotte? Is her name Charlotte?
Yes,
What about
Charlotte. I just wrote down that the place is not in the red because business is booming. You know, we had a theory that maybe this place is operating in the red.
Well, there still are those. There, in this episode, showed several more of them. Those decrepit parts of the park where it just looks like it's all falling apart.
Well, those are parts that just aren't being used, I guess.
Well, it was like the tram. He was using the tram to get between sections of the park. Remember the security guard?
Yeah.
And they just like stuff was dripping and falling down. And
Okay. See, I'm still moving along. Recreated without the bomb and C6 vertebrae. Cool.
Yep.
Fly returns. I did note that. Okay. So this must be the part where everybody's waking up. Oh, yeah. Maeve said this to somebody. She must have said it to the two while they're standing there in the buff. They are not gods. They act like it.
yes, that's exactly what had happened.
I was like, oh. Man.
However, speaking of that, the maze, just like I thought, it's not for you. The maze was never for William. It was always for the hosts. It's their trip to consciousness.
Right. Yeah.
They just keep playing it over until they get that, until they realize and start to hear their own voices.
Yeah, and they did the whole upside down triangle business and all that, trying to figure it out. But I mean, he I don't know, Dave.
Arnold? Arnold?
Yeah, Arnold.
Yeah.
Well, because Arnold explains consciousness. That he has the pyramid in his room, but he says it's not a pyramid; it's a maze or a journey inward. The center is
Yeah, it's not a journey upward,
thyself.
it's a journey inward.
Yeah, thyself.
Yeah.
But remember with that first episode when the little girl said the maze is not for you, and I was oh yeah, it's not for him. It's for the host. It's their trip to consciousness. And yep, that's right.
Which is great, and I love that because it means that basically, like, William's been running around
for 30
for 30 years for no reason. He has literally been wasting 30 years.
Oh, now see, this was something that
Poor
we never
fella.
got to find out. Maybe season 2 will answer it. Who knows? Maybe season 5. What became of Logan?
Which one's Logan?
Logan was original Black Cat 30 years ago.
William's brother-in-law.
the brother-in-law.
Soon to be brother-in-law.
Yeah. Well, obviously he didn't get the
Naked
company.
on a horse and
And
rode
he
out
just
the-
gets glossed over. Like, he's there a bunch, and then eventually William, says, haha, well, the company, they don't need you. Sends him off.
Yeah, they're going to need somebody
And he's
that's
gone.
right in the head.
And then, since by the end, though, that the man in black is William, Logan just got shunted off into the shadows.
William owns the company. I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
'cause
he-
William-
he has the more than
The
50%
bulk
share. Yeah.
Right.
And I
Let's
think
see.
the man in black was also, the man in black is William,
Yeah.
old William.
Ed Harris William.
Yeah, Ed Harris Williams said
We'll call him Bill.
Arnold didn't make mistakes. He keeps talking like, he's fixed on the maze, and at one point he says Arnold doesn't make mistakes. I'm like, well, Arnold was a man.
Playing the deeper game, yeah.
So, William, old William, Ed Harris is just so far, at least for me, it seems like he's so far off the mark.
Yeah.
He's wasted 30 years, and he thinks that Arnold is some sort of god when he's just a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't have it more wrong.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was really fun is when the general's execution,
Oh, you're
And-
jumping ahead, yeah.
Arnold's
Yeah.
death
General's
match up.
Well, that's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were...
Because
Oh, yeah.
Wyatt
The general.
Wyatt pulls the general out, puts him down in the thing, and blows out his eyeball from the back.
But see, we were seeing that from Teddy's perspective.
Exactly.
His memories as they were rewritten.
Yeah, his projected.
He's having a hard time hearing his own voice.
Yeah, he really
That's
is.
what that is, because he's still viewing his thoughts as... what's it called when they're giving a backstory?
The cornerstone.
Yeah. But he's seeing it play out from his perspective, and yeah, I mean, that's what he is recalling, even though they're supposed to remember things perfectly. I wrote this for some reason. I got really deep on this, which I guess was easy to do.
Well, yeah, it was a very existential episode.
It says
It was
the
incredibly. Like,
Yeah.
everything leading up to it was like this cool mystery, and then the last episode just, for me, was... Like, I have 4 little pieces of paper, scraps, worth of notes, but probably at least 50% of them are, like, existential things. Like, I noted, like, hey, you know, the fact that the maze that they go through... But Dolores's maze is just like her. She's constantly surrounded by death. Like the images all the way through the whole stinking season.
Yeah.
You know, she's in the parade of death. Her maze in the end winds up in a graveyard. She's
Yeah.
like, she finally reaches consciousness in a graveyard.
With those
And
wonderful
it's
death
her-
bells.
It's her
Yeah.
freaking headstone too.
Yeah.
Yeah, at her headstone.
That was great.
With the bells. I love the bells.
Well, I
That was a
wrote-
nice touch.
I'm trying to remember who said this. The world outside is a game.
I don't remember.
I think
who
Logan said that.
Yeah.
One of them must have said it
I think
to
Logan
the other.
said that.
And
Or- William said it.
or yeah, it must have been between. I'm gonna call old William Bill.
Except, well, as long as you don't call him Billy, I guess you're
Yeah.
you're saying it.
But so Bill is getting his butt handed to him by Dolores.
Yes.
Who realizes I'm more strong, I'm powerful, more strong
He
than you
keeps
are.
twisting his arm, and they make these crunching noises, and then he's okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, he was
Like,
kind
no,
of.
he was
His
pretty
arm was in a splint. When you
Yeah,
saw
he
him
had a
next.
little sling later,
He was
but
just like
he
his
was
arm
still-
really didn't move that much.
No.
Looked kind of like Popeye, just kind of bent at the elbow.
I thought it got really good when she's explaining to him. I mean, she goes all like godlike toward him, and she says, "You will lie with the rest of your kind." She's talking about
Yeah.
the sand. A new god will walk upon the sand.
What she's talking about then,
I'm just like, whoa.
and that's kind of I think what Arnold's idea was.
She recognizes her immortality, is what that is.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
just like, look, man, when
I love it.
I see what
Oh, yeah.
you've become.
Well, it was just, go ahead.
You got this weathered face. You're old. You're gonna die. You're gonna return to the dust that
He
you came
represents
from.
humanity.
Stuff. Yeah, and she's like, I'll still be walking around
Yep.
looking as awesome as I look.
Yeah. Well, it's like earlier in the episode, I was sitting there, I was talking, like, okay, so they control the hosts, and about episode 3, we start to feel really sorry for the hosts. Mm-hmm. We start to identify more with the hosts than we do with the humans.
Yeah, no, we had that discussion, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Okay, so
Interesting
Dolores
thing
and
to
Teddy
note.
killed all the
Yeah.
hosts to stop the park from opening.
Teddy can unload blanks on a host.
Yeah.
Felix. Who's Felix? Felix is the Asian dude, right?
Yep.
Felix questions his own humanity when he finds Bernard. That was a classic moment.
Yeah, it was. He was like,
They're down,
he like starts looking at his arms. Like,
and Maeve is like, "You're not one
Not
of us,
you."
you idiot." Oh,
You're
and she pays
okay.
him that compliment, right?
well, we'd kind of thought that for a minute in one of the previous episodes that they were
Yeah.
that the workers were hosts too.
Right. Well, and I thought it was still awesome. I mean, clearly, God, what's the big dude's name?
Oh, the big
Anthony Hopkins.
Ford, Robert Ford.
Obviously, Ford knew that Bernard wasn't going to end himself. Because otherwise, he would have had a program to actually end himself. You know, because even when he sees Bernard again, he's like, "Oh, there you are. About time." You
Well,
know?
that gun he used was also just a 22.
I'm sorry, but I made a comment that
It's a
it
22.
couldn't be any more than a 22 given the
Yeah.
barrel. I don't know. Sorry.
No,
we went off on that on the last episode.
When I was a kid,
What is this?
I saw that. I saw one of those guns. I was like, "That is so cool!" And as an adult, I looked for one. It's like it's a 22. I'm like, "That no, never mind. I have no interest in that."
Okay, so this is referring to how many have awakened. A handful over the years, right? That's what Bernard says to Maeve.
Yep.
William owns most of the place, so his god complex.
Yeah, he is a majority. Yeah.
Oh, she still doesn't have free will, and that's referring to Maeve.
Yes. Oh my god, that just floored me. I was like, "Oh, somebody who programmed all of that in there, insurrection and revolt and just like."
Well, see, I still think, and that's not Bernard. I guess it'd be Arnold.
Arnold.
Except it
Arnold.
was new programming. It was recent programming.
Yeah, but he's still Ghost in the Machine because
yeah,
Arnold,
he's still kind of Ghost in the Machine.
Then Arnold at one point says something, and I'd noted it, but Arnold knows the park will be hell. Like he acknowledges the fact. He's like, this is going to be literally hell for you.
Stuck in the
So he basically he attempts a coup.
Well, that's what he did with
using the host
with Wyatt, finger quotes, and Teddy. He just wiped everybody out while they were having their big pre-party.
Getting ready, yeah.
And then killed himself, hoping that, they wouldn't open the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did notice, too, that whenever you were talking about Maeve gets her new body that doesn't have the explosives in the spine.
Right. One
of the things she does is, before we talked previously and mentioned in other episodes where the hosts are, since they're not really alive, whenever they get shot, they're told by their programming, shut down. So they don't actually die. They just go, oh, and they go downstairs and they rinse them up and repatch them and then reboot them and they come back up. So they're not actually dead.
We had that discussion because Teddy got taken out by an arrow.
Right. But the thing is, though, is that whenever it's based on whether or not they are told by their programming to experience pain. And whenever Maeve boots up and she's like, oh, I got my new body, she takes a tablet and you see her pull up Armistice, and she doesn't say anything. It's just something you see. But if you look at the screen and what she's doing, she pulls up Armistice and grabs her pain meter and just goes and slams it to the bottom.
Oh, I didn't notice
that. So she turns off Armistice.
I think,
her ability. Yeah, she goes on the pain.
Well,
register.
She did it to both of them.
Yeah, and then she did it. I think she did it to Hector too.
Hector, right?
So yeah, you see her tell. So she's told. The hosts are told to die and experience pain. They don't actually experience it.
Otherwise, they'd be like T-2000s.
Yeah.
And that brings back to another thing. When they were talking about Maeve, they were talking about them being pretty much just copies of human beings with a chip in their head. Except when Logan cuts Dolores open, we see her in her robotics.
Yeah.
So is there are we looking at different models here where Maeve is one that's mostly human, that's just a human clone with a chip in her head?
You weren't there for the one episode where we covered that, because at one point the Man in Black is the one, and whenever he's tied up, one lady's got him and Teddy, and he says, you used to be magnificent, elegant machines, but you cost too dang much.
Yeah.
Your humanity is cheaper. So that's why Dolores is a robot, because she's a Gen 1, but as they got along, it was too expensive to maintain, so they made them blood-filled meat bags, basically.
Okay, well, I think I was there for that episode.
Yeah, because it was cheaper. Oh, were you there?
I think I was.
But yeah, I mean, Maeve, since she's been remade, she clearly has the
bone structure,
the upgraded body. But she still has the old operating system.
Okay, yeah. All right. I just wanted. That's what I kind of thought, but I was like, oh, so there's a handful of them that are still the robot machines, and then the rest of them are the animated meat bags.
Right. Yeah. Now, okay, so my next note's about Dolores, and let's do a round robin on this really quick because I wrote something, but I don't know. What's her cornerstone?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Sam? I'll go next, actually.
I don't know. That's a good...
I wrote, is her cornerstone to see beauty?
Yeah.
Is that her cornerstone? Because every time she defaults back to this, I see the beauty of the world, and yet what's talked about, the world is hell.
Yeah. However, she always also goes back to that gun. Wherever Bernard hides it, she finds it.
Yeah, but see, we learn why.
Yeah.
That was the gun that was used to kill Arnold.
Right, yeah. So is that her cornerstone?
I don't know.
Well, Ford gave her that, though.
Right, yeah.
It gets real kind of, now that, you're talking about, I kind of remember that in that, like, he says it's all about suffering, and that's what, makes you who you are. And
very Star Trek.
yeah, very, very Star Trek-ish type.
Was it Final Frontier? Yeah.
Yeah, and so the fact that I think Ford allows her to continue to find the gun Like, he puts it places so that it winds up somewhere where she can find it. It's in her drawer, or it's
buried out behind the woodshed.
It's buried out behind the woodshed where she just happens to be around digging. Like, Ford puts it there, not... And man, that's kind of... I don't want to jump ahead too far, but like a lot of my notes for this thing are less like plot points or whatever, and it's more like it's just existential stuff, but like also like general questions like where the freaking hell did Ford get that gold nugget on his desk? I've been looking at that thing all season long. He's got this
giant gold nugget. Looks almost like a human head.
Giant, but it came out of the ground perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, he managed to get it out of the ground and then somehow dissolve all the dirt. So there's this nugget that looks like it's been like it's gnarled.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Melted.
Did you not notice
an
that
amazing.
thing?
It's an
it does.
amazing.
It looks like it's about the size of a human head, and it just looks like this gnarled, crusty human head.
Yeah,
but it's just a gold nugget.
It's cool. It's cool as hell.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's awesome.
So yeah, and I've been waiting all season long for him to say something, and they didn't. So now that we're on the end, I was like, "What's going on with that gold nugget?"
He was waiting to use it to buy out the remaining shares.
Yeah, that's his nest egg, I guess. But
yeah, I don't know.
Wait, where were we though?
For what?
What were we talking
The gun
about?
and existentialism.
We were trying to figure out what the
it's
heck her cornerstone
it's
is.
It's that he... Well,
Her cornerstone is suffering.
Yeah, her cornerstone.
Really,
suffering,
that's
man.
just
Yeah,
basically
but see,
what it is.
How
It's
does
always
that doesn't
suffering.
lock her into a loop, though. Because her loop was to drop a freaking can, have somebody come up, pick it up for her, and then
have to save her.
take him back to take him
and then
back
have to kill
see,
Teddy.
That was
But
her
it goes
loop.
back, see.
But they always have to kill Teddy. Because that's what William was saying. It's like, Teddy, you're here to
always gonna lose.
You're here to lose. That's what you're here for.
Right, but it's...
And she's gonna get raped by the guys at the farmhouse.
The milk drinkers.
Yes.
Yep, Trevor Phillips.
Trevor Phillips. Trevor Phillips Industries.
No, it's that this episode also, they totally changed Ford's role. Mm-hmm. Like, he almost was their jailer. And it might have been that he was just wearing that front, that persona, up until the point where Dolores finally achieves consciousness and he begins... Now he's got to acknowledge that, okay, you're pretty much here.
Right.
Now you're going to have to stay here longer and suffer more to become who you need to be able to leave here.
And
so her deal is suffering. Yeah. And I think Teddy's there. He tells Teddy, you're here to keep her here. Which, if that's the case, and based on his dialogue now, means that he's basically always known. Mm-hmm. And he's almost really always sided with Bernard, even though he wears the appearance that he does not. But if he does side with Bernard, or Arnold, that the reason he made Teddy was to keep Dolores here long enough for her to suffer enough to,
realize what she has to
to actually, rather than just wander out into the world ill-prepared or half-baked. Mm-hmm. Teddy's here to keep her here till she can achieve full consciousness, then suffer enough to become who she needs to be able to leave, which he seems to be totally fine with at the end.
Yeah.
See, and we had the discussion, I think it was last episode. Sit down in a class for psychology, have them watch the last 2 episodes, and then discuss it for the rest of the semester.
Yeah, that would be a great way to. I'd love that class, and you'd learn a lot.
Yeah,
because I mean, one of my last note here for episode 9 was had humanity killed off all life, like the Neanderthals, like I was talking about earlier. Because that's one of the things that they mentioned. It's like humanity kills off everything.
Yeah,
we killed off the Neanderthals because they were competition.
Okay.
So now we have. Should we take a break?
No.
Okay.
I was going to say we could segue into my next note with your train of thought here. Continue, though.
So now we've got the hosts now capable of killing off humanity.
Mm. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, and my next note says Journey into Night. That's the name of the new narrative. Mm-hmm. What does that mean, Dave?
What?
Journey into Night. That's the name of Ford's new narrative.
Well...
Journey into Night.
Journey into Night. It's death. What do you mean? I don't. There's like a bunch of different ways because I noted that too.
Is
It's
he-
like what Journey of the Night.
So is he saying that all the humans, all the hominids are gonna die? Or,
Because for
this
humanity, like he's talking about humanity.
Yeah, this is a journey into the light for most of the hosts.
Because what's that saying? Go
softly into this good night.
into this good
that's,
night or whatever. It's you know.
Another poet. I can't think of it right now, but yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Go gently into this good night.
Yeah, I did.
Do
Yeah,
not-
I think they actually made reference to it.
Do not.
I
do not
Go
go
up
softly
light.
into this. Yeah, do not go. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, I had to write this down. Old Field Lab is where we have seen Arnold and Dolores.
Yes.
We finally learned.
Well, when Bernard learns what he is, I figured out that that's where that was.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there, and there's that glass case.
We're like,
right?
cellar. No, it was just an Old Field Lab.
Yep. I did too. I thought whenever Maeve gets Hector and Armistice and fires them up, she says something about I think it was Armistice is the one who said it, like, oh, they're not gods,
Right,
or something like that.
Yeah.
And I flashed back to Superman 2 when Zod's two minions show up, and she's like, they worship him as a god, or whatever.
Yeah,
It says
yeah.
something about. I was like, yeah,
Nice.
I thought of that lady from Superman 2.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name now.
I can't either. I just remember
Zod.
having quite a crush on her as a child.
Yeah, and okay, so Bill has issues because
Yeah.
his arm is still dislocated, which you've already referred to. I wrote that down though.
By the way,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
favorite moment, everybody.
Oh, that's my next note. It's
We're
probably my next note.
probably
I don't
gonna have
know.
the same
I still
favorite
have-
moment.
I still have several pages, but my next note, I just read it and had a good laugh. Armistice giggle when firing the auto.
Huh?
She uses the auto rifle for the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time.
Don't get into that scene until you're ready to go to town either, because
She giggled, and I'm just like,
she was psychotic. And it was great. I love it. No, I was talking about that ending, that last scene in the episode. So maybe we'll go to favorite moments here a little bit later.
yeah, maybe. Because I mean, there's still a lot left, but Armistice giggle that's one of my favorite moments. Because I had to note that. I'm just like, she giggled,
She did.
and I'm like, wow, she just got her rocks off, taking out like 3 dudes when she realized how fast it's like a bullet hose for her.
Oh, and they were just doing that. She's
she's
she'd
always
walk up,
firing.
put it under the dude's chin, and go.
Yeah, but I mean, up to that point, it's like 12 gauge all the time,
Yeah,
and then she's like bullet hosing and oh, her little giggles just.
she had a lot of fun with that.
yeah, but see, in that
Speaking
whole
of that-
thing though, I'm like, whenever they come around, I'm like, these are like the worst guards ever. Like they're movie guards. Like they run in, they're running around in a building. The whole floor is
With
glass,
hostiles.
and they're like, they run around the corner, and she's there, and they both go, and then she draws and shoots them, and they don't even lift their guns.
Yeah.
And I was like, so then I kind of wondered.
The
I was
walls
like,
are
I was like,
glass. Good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
they can see her. They're walking around going, Tango down, we're whiskey. And I'm like, you can look. She's right there. You can see. There might be some refraction, but you're going to basically know.
They always paused. Every time they came around the glass corner, they'd pause and be like, oh. And they start to lift their guns, and then she'd just be like, brrr.
Right, so
They had the same guns.
that made me question, though, are the guards hosts that are told, don't fire on these people? It's all just like, that is also part of their... experience, like, to get them out, like, it's, they have to
Well, they
feel
did
like
have the
they're fighting
host
for it
guard that
because
fought Maeve's friend. That got killed by Maeve's friend. The host guard, remember I can't remember her name.
Oh, when they were.
when they put the fake program in her.
Yeah, that was all terrible.
That was terrible.
When Arnold was set up, he took the fall, and we're all thinking, "Dang, Ford, you're messed up."
Clementine.
Clementine, thank you.
Yeah, Clementine, but the other guy was
The
host.
guard that she beat up was a host.
Right, yeah.
So maybe the guards are all hosts. Maybe you got
those
maybe you
guards
got
are-
something going there.
I mean, they felt so ineffective and so
Yeah.
poorly trained for a giant corporation that seems to do everything else so,
Efficiently.
efficiently.
Coordinated.
Every single guard was a dope.
They were like, Stormtroopers.
But it felt blatantly, but it felt blatantly so. And but it wasn't even like the guards ran around the corner and shot and missed. They ran around the corner and didn't even shoot.
Yeah.
So so Sam already commented on this one. I wrote down armistices like John Wick.
Yeah. Just fun and blood.
Why did I write Southwest World is complicated?
I don't know, because
Somebody said it's complicated. Oh,
no, that's because at the very
talking
end,
to
it's not Southwest World, man.
I wrote Southwest World is
That is-
complicated.
Talking about Samurai World.
Samurai World, man.
That's what he said. It's complicated.
He
When
said
they
it's
walked into
complicated.
Samurai World, which is my next note. Samurai
That's
World.
Samurai World?
SW.
Yes,
I put Southwest World.
Well,
okay.
SW was Samurai World, yeah. But yeah, because in the original film they had a Roman world, they had a medieval world, and you just
So it is Disneyland.
yeah.
Epcot.
Yeah, he's running through there just briefly through the Roman world and the medieval world while he's being chased by Yul Brynner. But you just kind of get a flash of him.
Rat balls. Okay.
Yeah, Felix says it's complicated whenever they show up and they're
When they run into Samurai World,
Samurai
she's just
World.
like, what am I looking at? And she's like, it's complicated. And let's just keep going.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to tick off the next three. Hector says die well after the arm gets stuck in the door.
Very.
I've
Very
always
samurai.
valued my independence. That's
which is
Maeve.
funny because they can't die. What?
Right. I've always valued my independence. That's what Maeve says, and yet we established she never has independence.
No, she
really.
doesn't, because even whenever he says, "Oh," and then you make it to the platform, but on the train, and she's like, "Ah, shut up," and she's like, "No, I'm getting out of here," and she goes to the train and then sees the lady with her daughter, and then gets off of the train.
Uh-huh.
So
So
cornerstone's my daughter.
That
Yeah.
cornerstone is that daughter, yeah.
Ford wasn't surprised Bernard is alive. Okay. See, I already said that.
Yeah.
you know, I actually questioned whether all this whole thing, all of it with William's entire involvement, potentially the not necessarily where the hosts go, but the story and the universe as we know it, all hinges on Logan. Because if Logan had never brought William there, or Logan had never been a giant douche and pushed William like he did, if he left William alone and let him be a white hat, would William have gone down the path that he went down?
No. He wouldn't have.
All that's Logan's fault.
He would have got stripper. He would have fallen in stripper love with Dolores, and then eventually had to leave, and everything would have changed.
Yeah,
You know, but
thanks to Logan.
Logan had to go kill Dolores, and or try to kill Dolores, and that just set him in that big path where he went through hell to try and find her again, and then comes back and finds her with some other guest who picks up the can.
Yeah, yeah, and it's and
that's when he realizes they're all just things.
Yeah,
That's when he stops thinking about them the way he thought about Dolores. You know, he fell in love with Dolores, and now all of a sudden, she picks up the can and starts flirting with the guest who picks up the can, and he's like, they're just things because his heart got broken.
My gosh.
yeah, and even that, like William, the place where he found himself, or where he was, I believe he was telling Logan that he'd found himself. He's like, we're out here on the fringes, you know. And maybe Logan told him, oh, well, then you finally found yourself, or he said, I finally found myself, or who I am, or whatever. But it's out on the fringes, which is where they, they're like out among the dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I did. Okay.
I was like, it's kind of interesting. William finds himself out among the dead.
Okay.
Well, he slaughtered that entire military camp. Was pretty epic.
Oh, so you're backtracking, buddy.
I know. Well, I love the fact that he knows. He's like, oh, I've got God mode, so whatever, and just goes rolling around.
He's
no,
like, oh,
no, kill Teddy, like diving in front of bullets. No, just
Well, that's the thing is like Logan gets all drunk and he's just like, oh, you want to mess with me, Logan? I'll show you. I'm just gonna kill your entire army.
Oh man, I know. Yeah, and poor Logan gets slapped and sent off on a horse buck naked.
Right.
Saddle sores.
Oh
man.
ooh, that would not be fun. That would no.
Okay, so in my notes, we must have got to the part in the episode where it says Arnold did have a son. He created the reveries.
Man, you're too far. You're way ahead of me.
Dolores was merged with Wyatt.
But yeah, Arnold, I did know that Arnold was the one who created the Reveries, not Ford, like he said in like episode 2.
Right.
Or something. 8 episodes ago. Those weren't Ford's doing.
Nope.
That's all this latent code from Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of, like you said, ghost. He's still the ghost in the machine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So see, I'm at the part where we're going through because Dolores was merged with Wyatt, and then
Dolores is Wyatt.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
period.
is. Well, it was 2 stories though, because it was explained that she was merged. Her story was merged with Wyatt's, so that she could carry out what she needed to, because that was a story that Arnold put into play so that he could stop the park from opening. Because Dolores originally had her own thing. She had her own loop and stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So he merged this character with her. She was Wyatt. And that's where he says mistakes must be irreversible. Because these... I mean, it's said in past episodes, these guys have died so many times, I'm good at it. Mm-hmm. I think that's what Maeve tells
said,
one of the butchers. Are you good at it? I'm awesome at it. I've done it hundreds, thousands of times. So yeah, mistakes must be irreversible. Couldn't bring Arnold back. That's what it was. And before he gets shot through the back of the head, eyeball and all, he says good luck to Dolores. Because he's, and this goes back to what you were talking about, Dave, how they just got to keep circling the drain in their own maze until they reach their consciousness, right? Mm-hmm. So...
Yep, he knows at that point there's nothing else he can do.
Somebody remind me, why did I write this? William was the only William was the only reason Arnold failed in his plan? Is it because he gave all the financial backing to keep the place open?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because the original plan was all the hosts die. Mm-hmm. But
Logan and William came there because their company was planning on taking over the park. That was the job because the park was kind of flailing.
It was, yes, it was, and that's why because you remember young William stating, "Oh, I'll make sure that our company invests heavily."
Mm-hmm. Right.
So William is the reason that the park stayed open.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they were in the red. Back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why we came up with that, because we didn't realize the time jump was happening. So we're like, it's in the red, and then it's like, no, it's not. What?
Yeah.
Okay. So 35 years to correct a mistake. Oh, that's Ford. Mm-hmm. Ford says that to Dolores, huh?
Yeah, Dolores has been trying to break out of this place for decades.
Yeah. Okay.
Decades.
So. Okay, and see, now I start asking questions, so I guess I got a little existential with my note-taking.
Oh, no.
Who will she need to become? Ford says you had to hang here until you could understand who you need to become. Who does she need to become? And this goes back to our discussion a long time ago. Are you the protagonist, or are you the villain?
She needs to become self-aware. Completely and totally self-aware.
Is that going to make her a villain?
I don't know. That's her choice.
I question. I that is what I question. Does that make you a villain when you realize that you have to do something terrible to be able to get to somewhere else? I mean, this goes right back to The Walking Dead. How far are you willing to go for your survival?
Yeah.
You know, are you willing 27 hours later to cut your own arm off?
Well, and obviously that, has happened in a lot of stories where they have to go further than they would have for their freedom. I mean, shoot, that...
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I got another question.
That's every revolution that's ever happened.
True. Park 1. Which park is Westworld? See?
Now
that we've already discussed it's freaking Disneyland.
That was like the last thing, one of the last things I wrote.
Oh, really?
Was Park 1, 2, 3, 4, ... Like, how many of these places are there?
Yeah, because it says Park 1. Which one's Westworld?
Yeah, Park 1.
Well, like I said, there was... Park 1
was
original
Westworld.
movie.
Right.
The original movie, there was the medieval world, there was the Roman world,
Mm-hmm.
there was Westworld, and then we've got Samurai World. So we've got at least 4 worlds where theoretically that exist.
Dave and I have had this conversation before. I just wrote they need to update their old commercials that they have playing when you get off the train because they're playing Maeve's old story.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I
she
thought
doesn't
about
even
that
have
too.
a daughter.
That's false advertisement.
That's a year removed
You'll
from the
never see
current
that.
Yeah.
from the current loop. Come on, man. Suffering leads to awakening. Check. We already discussed that. You will become stronger than your enemy and suffer more. That must have been Ford, right? So that's what she has to become. You will become stronger than your enemy and suffer more. I don't think she's becoming. Physically, she's already stronger. So obviously, he's talking about mentally. She has to become stronger. She has to get used to dying. I mean, you could turn off the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So in becoming stronger, you have to recognize what it is you have to do to be able to reach this plane of existence where you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, does that mean the complete obliteration of humankind? I don't think so, because Felix, like I said, Maeve tells Felix, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
You're the worst kind of human, and you should take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
That's got to be in my
Yeah,
notes
dang
somewhere.
it, Felix is human.
Yeah.
I was hoping, man, once all these people are like, no, they're hosts or hosts, I was like, Felix is human. And I was like, yeah, when he finally goes,
So where's my girl?
well, dead.
No.
Previously discussed,
No.
going to be sunk into the swamp.
No.
Who?
Elsie's
Elsie's still
dead.
alive. She's alive.
We don't know.
She's alive.
Because what happened to him?
We
went
never
out to go.
saw.
He
We
went
never
out.
saw the corpus. She's alive.
He went out to
Doesn't
go find Elsie, and then the park started to fall apart.
Well, she got choked out. That's
yeah.
all. Sleeper hold. Sleeper hold.
Has
No,
she
man,
ever
it
do
was
this
not-
to somebody else before?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's alive.
No, she's dead.
She's alive.
I miss her too.
Wasn't the $1 million dream,
This is not
baby.
denial. You shut up.
I miss her too, but she's gone.
My
Virgil.
show. She's alive.
Virgil. It was like he stuffed a $100 bill in her mouth. See, that was the thing. He didn't stuff the $100 bill in her mouth before he did it.
No.
So you know it wasn't the $1 million dream.
Yeah.
She got full on just strangulated.
Oh my gosh. Wow, look at all this. I took some crazy notes here. Dolores has one more combo with Arnold, but it's with herself.
Yeah.
Right?
Combo.
Convo.
Well, there's
That's what the kids call it nowadays.
Combo
They're too
breaker.
lazy to say conversation,
Oh.
and we're
All right.
lazy. So I did convo. It
Yeah.
felt good. Made me feel young. Like
She had one more. What? Convo with.
Convo with Arnold.
Convoy. Is
But
that a
it-
car?
It ended
No,
up
she
being
did not.
with herself.
Yes.
Yeah. In the blue dress.
Yeah.
Oh my
in the blue
gosh.
dress. That's because
Well,
that's
it's
her
like-
true self.
Which, like I said, the voice, when you stop hearing the voice in your head is your own, that's when you win.
Yep. So there it goes.
That's when you get
Dolores.
through the maze.
And that's why I wrote she confronts herself, meaning the mistakes she made.
Mm-hmm.
But did she make the mistakes? No, she was
It
programmed.
was like a
to
real
shoot
elaborate
somebody.
monologue too.
It was, dude, come on. Did that not
That's
make
like
you
audition
think-
quality monologue right there.
Yeah.
Well, did it make
Divine
you...
gift is from within. Then she starts talking with herself. She said,
It made me think of Gollum.
We're trapped in Ford's dream,
Yeah.
which that's like a huge philosophical thing because everybody's like, well, but are we all a dream? How do we know? You
Yeah.
know, what if the person who's dreaming us wakes up?
Well, it's like Bernard. You know, it's like, where are you? I'm in a dream.
Yep, I'm in a dream. All these dream states and
Yep.
No,
Well-
I mean, this is just, you know, like you said, psychology class. This is just all
Oh, it would be excellent.
existentialism. Just
yeah, it got real. And Bernard was the one who actually said violent.
delights.
Yeah, the violent
Yes.
delights have violent ends.
Yes,
I
yes,
love
yes.
that line.
That was him. You find out finally in
Yeah.
episode 10 that it was originally
And
him.
I wrote that William never knew Arnold. Because Bernard
No,
walks
William
right
never knew Arnold.
by. Walks right by him.
Yeah, well, Arnold
He
was
would've-
dead before the park opened.
Yeah, he would have recognized him elsewise. Maeve was never programmed to be a mother. Wait, what? Maeve was never programmed to be a mother. So that's something she figured out on her own?
No, I think
They
there
gave
was
her
a. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, she was on the train getting ready to leave.
Mm-hmm.
She sees the mother and the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
and she has to go back to get this daughter that isn't even her daughter.
Right.
But she was
especially now
never-
that the daughter's probably been reprogrammed to be something else.
Yeah, and she was never programmed to be a mother.
How was she never programmed to be a mother?
I wrote it. It must be true. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't
why I wrote
know
that.
either.
And actually, that was a question too. Maeve was never programmed to be a mother? Question mark. I don't know.
Well, she kind of, when she walked out, was just like, I don't need anybody else. I'm out.
Honestly, HBO, I think my notes are better than your show. Yeah. Birth of a new people, free to choose whom to become. Maeve exits the train.
What? Oh yeah.
God,
yeah.
that was all one train of thought. No pun intended. Birth of a new people, free to choose whom to become. Maeve exits the train to go be a mother.
Yeah.
I think that's why I asked that question. She was never programmed to be a
Well, we
mother,
don't-
so she chose to be a mother?
Yes, that's
Over
the thing.
freedom?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
See,
After she says, I value my independence, I'm going to go be a mother. What's more independent and free than being a parent? What? I'm just saying, man. Is she making her own choices now? Because if you're choosing to be a parent...
when it comes to Maeve, I don't know. I don't know what. I think her entire experience seems to be something instigated. You know what I mean? Like, because the guy oh yeah, you're going to go to the train. You get all the way to the train. You get on the train. But then, shut up, slap, and there goes the tablet. But, but then all that happens.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't consciously realize it, all that actually happens. She goes and gets on the train and then gets off. So, but you don't know whether or not he goes, but then you leave, because the way he says it, it doesn't seem like it would, conversation would flow that way.
Yeah.
Well, you make it all the way to the train, but then you just go on ahead and go. I'm like, what? No. But then you get back off. And you go, okay. So then the way that was read leads back to that. But Ford, I know at one point, though, when Ford was talking to Dolores, he said he was monologuing, I think, about humanity and how, we're all in our own loops and humanity will never change.
Stuff, yeah.
But he tells Dolores, he said, but I've met somebody who can change.
Right.
You, like the host, meaning the host. He's like, I met somebody who can change. You guys. And, so that's why I say his whole role in this episode, completely flipped. Because he was like, well, now that you're finally pretty much about where you need to be, it's almost like the next step for them is for his removal.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the thing, is you get this point where he's been exceptionally cruel to the hosts throughout the show.
Treating them like objects.
But then at this very end, you're like, oh, his whole point is to make them suffer so that they could become self-aware. So suddenly you've got this. Suddenly you've got this weird conundrum. We're like, well, he actually does care about them, and he's just trying to make them become self-aware.
like any good parent.
Better, stronger, faster.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
The more you yell, the stronger they get.
Okay, so see, this may be one of your favorite moments, and we're getting close enough to the end that we might be able to discuss this. I wrote, cold storage is empty. That was like a oh crap moment.
That was definitely a But then we find out where all cold storage goes at the end.
Yeah, they went into the forest, living like naked people.
Yes, naked.
They're a nudist colony in the forest.
Yeah, see, well, that whole
But
scene
that does lead up to my
was-
favorite moment.
That whole scene was a complete repeat of Escalante. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Dolores killed
Everybody
Arnold.
in cold storage.
She killed Arnold, right? She killed Arnold.
Right.
Then, later on, she goes, and she's the one who kills Ford. She's killed her creators. And
The
I know there's a
same
lot
way.
of philosophical, discussions where they're like, well, humanity,
Let's
what it
kill
really
their
needs
gods
is to kill their gods because that's what's holding them back. And you know what I mean? So maybe that was that's what that was a representation of, because they'd always viewed them as gods, from early on in the season.
Yeah.
They kept referring to the humans as gods. Well,
Right, yeah,
they're the ones that killed
the
them.
Native American, the ghost nation.
Yeah, the ghost nation.
Religion and all that stuff.
Yeah, their religion and stuff. So the whole thing was like Escalante all over again, where Dolores, except instead of killing the host, she was running around shooting the people.
The hominids.
And,
yeah.
I'd also noted, like, at that point, though, you can kind of see William light up because he's like, he's finally getting what he wants, though. He's like, this is for real.
Yeah.
Because he gets shot in the arm.
That's my favorite moment right there. Is the grin when he gets shot in the arm and he's just like, he's like, he gets shot in the arm, the blood goes spraying out, and he goes, and then turns back and he's like, that big old just grin, and he's like, that was awesome. Well, he wanted the danger. He never got the danger, and that was all he wanted the entire time.
And that's what my next note was, is she leans over and talks into Teddy's ear and says, this world doesn't belong to them, it belongs to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And then I asked the question, Dolores becomes the villain, which I already went through.
Well, see, but then once they awaken, though, they begin behaving so much like humans that it's...
Oh, that's...
Oh, man.
No, great.
Yeah.
The ego, like, as soon as she's like, I'm awake, immediately it's just like, super ego, super, like, I'm the best.
Everything else is subpar.
Yeah, all your stuff is crap.
Existence.
See, I feel like I need to record a disclaimer right now that explains this is the deepest we are ever going to get on this show. So thank you, probably. Westworld.
Yeah.
Until next season.
Mm-hmm. Well, until next time you have me over for something.
Yeah. They have to rise up against the humans to be free.
Yes.
That was a question. But obviously. Well, I don't know because we got Felix. He's kind of the wild card to the whole thing. There can be coexistence.
Mm. Yeah.
In recognizing you're just as human as I am. I mean,
no, Felix was very subservient, so...
That's what I was going to say. It's like, it feels very much like an owner-pet situation.
Okay. Kind of like Dolores was saying to Ed Harris, he's like, the gods will be walking, and it's, they're going to be the gods, not us.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, so here's stuff. I must have wrote this after. I don't know. Hope Season 2 isn't spent by looking for Dolores half the season.
Oh, you mean like the humans trying to find Dolores?
Yeah, or,
shut her down?
Since she's the one that went crazy, she's going to be in hiding for half the season, and everybody else is going to be trying to find her to be like, what do we do next?
Well, I have a feeling that those people coming out of the woods are going to execute everybody else. It's going to be a replay.
Oh, so that's how it's going to start?
Yeah, because remember, they went into security lockdown before everything even started to happen.
Yeah,
so
true.
Security.
They started locking everything down, so I think this is already something that's pre-programmed by Ford or Arnold, where they're locking the whole thing down.
Everybody's locked in.
Yeah,
you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to have a big sleepover, everybody. Bunch of sleeping bags.
I made a note of what you talked about. Good thing Armistice has a low pain tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I loved when she jammed the knife in her arm and twisted it to get the tendons to hit the trigger finger again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Hector's like, I'll see you in the next life.
Yeah.
You don't die, though.
No. But up until then, they had been.
See you after I reboot.
Yeah. Oh, man. I wrote, Ford became music, ? God complex. The man... Mm-hmm. Right up to the end.
That's his loop.
Yeah,
basically.
And I think that's exactly what's going on. Is that is his God complex.
Okay, good. I only have 4 left.
The remaining story.
I only have 4 notes left. We're getting there.
Well, good. Then maybe you can tell me. I want to know how long it took to build this place, because they walk out the door, and look down, and you can see where it's open, and it goes down, to sub-basement 63.
Yeah.
And it goes off as far as the eye can see.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's a heck of an endeavor from like an architectural and engineering
standpoint. Again, we saw in the world, they got some giant earth-eating machines.
Yeah, but those were all crap. I mean, that was like... the giant... Seriously, that, for all the technology they have, they're using like an earth shovel from like 1940.
Yeah.
To dig.
And that's kind of why I wondered, why is his arm still on a sling? Why hasn't he been, like, one of the magic lasers?
Mm-hmm. Stem cell or something,
all better
stem
now.
cells on it.
I don't know.
Freaking William. Bill.
Yeah, the whole reason they have to dig up the town is because they can't just go, you can't build on top of another town whenever you're, because since they're in some sort of like a space station thing, like hurtling through space, I imagine. It's finite. Like, you can't just, like, we'll just build on top of this. But, like, no, there's no dirt. Like, we need that stuff back.
Okay, actually, I only have 3 notes.
You know, it's a closed system.
Yeah. Why did William smile when shot? We already discussed.
Oh, yeah. He wanted the part to be a challenge.
The element.
Yeah.
He got bored with it.
Yeah, he constantly talked about that.
That's why he was abusing every host he could get his hands on. Just slaughtering, murdering, whatever.
Waiting for somebody to hurt him back.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I wrote down has nothing to do with the end of the episode, so somebody else should probably take over, because, mine are like season 2 stuff.
No, we still got some time.
No, we have no time.
No. It's over an hour already.
I don't know. Are we going shorter than an hour? I thought we were going 2 hours.
We're fine.
Okay.
We're
going as long as we need to.
Yeah, like a double.
It was a double
season finale.
Yeah.
Double episode.
Yeah, we got all kinds of existential stuff to talk about.
What?
We got Vikings to talk about.
What do you got?
It's cool.
No. What do you got?
Part of it is just me questioning whether or not Dolores' entire stupid experience is not something that's just actually predetermined. You know, the fact that, like, she goes, like, you're watching all this junk right up to the end where she get, like, we're finally at the sea. And Teddy's there. And friggin' Teddy says, someday again. Which I latched onto, too. He said someday again. That's what somebody says when they mean no.
Yeah.
And then she goes, whoa, and keels over. And then Teddy's like, no. And then the whole stinking thing, there's like people right there. So Ford knew that he knew exactly where they were going to be.
Like it's on a stage.
He knew the whole stinking thing, which then makes me wonder.
Yeah, the lights coming up were very much like a stage.
Oh, yeah. And so I was like, okay, so, I mean, at that point I was like, well, Dolores' journey all the way through the entire season up to this point, it was a predestined thing. You know what I mean? Ford knew exactly where it was going to culminate. Mm-hmm. Now, at that point, though, you know, at the end, when he kicked the bucket, like, that might have been their grand finale, like, for their loops and stuff. Like, here we go, and look. And then, now that he's gone, though, that was, you know, him letting go, you know, control over them. But all the way up until then, man, I mean, he steered Teddy and Dolores through that whole excursion they went through, all through the countryside, going back to Escalante, finding everything out. Everything else is exactly what led them back to that 2-foot patch of sand on the beach that Ford already had chairs at.
Very true. However, here's my question. Since she's Wyatt, and this is the end of his big arc that involves Wyatt,
well, that was
how do they get there?
That was Arnold's arc.
No, that's his arc. He brought Wyatt in. No, yeah, that was
Arnold created Wyatt to shut the park down originally.
Yes, but Ford brought Wyatt back.
Yeah, Ford had to bring it back so that Arnold's plan could play out.
Yes, but so since she's Wyatt, why do we have a romantic moment on the ocean when she's the cannibal killer?
Well, cannibal killers, you know, just spooky. It's marketing there.
They're still romantic cannibal killers. They're still romantic.
Yes,
they still like to eat, you know.
By candlelight.
Yeah, they like to eat legs by candlelight. Okay. I was just about to do that.
Chianti.
What else you got?
Man.
Because seriously, I like I said, it's all.
My only other thing comes from episode 8.
Where we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
The Vikings. And I was like, is that a Viking world?
Oh, yeah, Viking world. No, I mean, really.
Not episode 8, there was a shot, and then there was later in episode 10,
really
there was one of the guys came out with big horns on his head, so I wasn't sure if it was a Viking world, if this is one of Wyatt's stooges that wears big horns on his head.
Oh, you talking about the pig soldier? Yeah. The boar soldier with the horns on his head that got all shot up and had his pain slutter down because he was getting a shot and not registering at all and just kept chugging away at Teddy
talked about that
and William.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had actually noted that that dude's actual design is on the wall in
that episode
that ass's
Piss
office.
Whisser,
Yeah.
Narrative. I can't think of his name now, but I just call him the narrative ass.
He's a dweeb.
Yeah,
He is.
it's hanging on the wall in his office.
Yeah,
So
and I
was
saw
like,
that in episode
oh.
8, and I was like, wait, does that mean there's a Viking world, or is that... And then later saw him with the big horns, and I was like, oh, maybe that's just part of the Wyatt narrative. But he's not in charge of the Wyatt narrative. That's Ford's narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, back to
well, that's just something where Ford let him think he like designed stuff, and then was like, yeah, fine, that'll work. Yeah, I just needed something
He
spooky
said that at some
to
point.
run through the woods and kill people.
Because he said at some point, I'm working on stuff for Ford, and she's like, no, you're not. You're just a stooge.
You're just
Yeah.
yeah. No, for me, it's mostly just like rap stuff, or rapping, I'm still convinced that they're in outer space.
Oh.
Also, I kind of like Dolores knows Taekwondo, like she was in the MMA or something, like she's Ronda Rousey, because she goes, the Man in Black.
Oh, she kicks the
Like-
hell out of him.
Yeah,
church,
like where did she learn
Krav
Kung
Maga.
Fu? Yeah, where did she learn that from? Because that switch just flips. Knows Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Neil, I know Kung Fu.
You didn't-
or whatever.
You
Like,
didn't see
And she
her
knows it?
eyelids flutter really
Yeah.
quick, and then she's like, here we go! I can fly a helicopter.
I know Kung Fu. Yep.
Wait, what's a helicopter?
Yeah.
All right, well, so my next note, freaking awesome. Season 2 will be defined by chaos, which is going to be fun. Which, again, is why please don't make it a where's Dolores story.
Yeah.
For the love of all that's holy, don't do that. Have it be chaotic. I hope Charlotte, all right, we all remember who Charlotte is, right? Corporate gal.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Charlotte comes up against Maeve
Oh,
at some point.
that would be beautiful.
I don't care if it's
Turn the
walking
quarter into
down the
Maeve.
hallways or out in the world. I hope she survives to the point where she gets to have a one-on-one with Maeve. That'd be awesome.
Maybe destroy her. It would be great.
Oh, it'd be great. The creators are less human than the creations.
Yep. That's
That's as deep as I will ever get.
that comes around for full circle.
And that for me is pen drop, not mic drop. Because if we drop the mic, you guys are all gonna.
Then we feedback and be
It'll
ugly.
hurt their ears.
But yeah, pen drop on that one. The creators are less human than the creations. Terrible people.
Yes, they are.
Well, yeah.
Well, we've got what?
What?
I don't know.
What?
What time are we trying to fill here? Does it matter?
No, I mean,
I don't particularly care.
basically, we could just say at this point we could just say thanks everybody for joining us and listening to our what's a good
Inane
word?
ramblings.
About
Yes.
Westworld
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what's going on.
for 10 episodes. Join us for all our other inane ramblings about anything and everything under the sun.
Yeah. I'm really sorry.
I'm not.
But whatever.
Wait,
No, we're just
we
having
don't
fun.
apologize. That's kind of
Yeah.
our thing.
Well, it was empty. I mean, I
That's-
said the words.
That's
I
why
didn't
we
mean 'em.
we have an email that we're never going to share because we don't care about comments.
Yeah,
Well, shouldn't we pay attention to the email?
What email?
Do we have an email? We don't have an email. Okay. Yeah. all
Yeah,
right.
there is
We
one.
do.
There is one.
We do. We've never shared it.
We never shared it.
No.
I've never seen it. I don't know that it exists.
After all this
Buried it.
time.
It's like Escalante. It's buried out in the
Just buried
desert.
in,
Yep.
with just the steeple sticking up.
That means see
No,
one
never mind.
T.
We're just not going to get into
You can
that.
see the T
We
poking
have
out of
it
the dirt.
if we cared about how everybody felt about this stuff. We'd share it, but we don't.
Maybe just start up a forum that we don't moderate or ever look at.
Well, that would be
Like,
the
here,
email.
you guys go.
That would
Go
be the
discuss.
email.
And then it just turns into some horrible, like, sub thing, like on 4chan. You're like, oh, no. Don't ever goes there. No,
Then
nobody
we'd
goes
be
there.
then we'd be the Mike Myers character from SNL. Here's a topic. Talk amongst yourselves. And never look.
I'm verklempt.
Clipped.
Yeah.